Artist Journal, September 8th, 2022, Berlin. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, your artist reporter. And has it only been 24 hours since we last talked? I feel a lot has happened. A lot of work has showed up again. Remember that Abundance of Tezos episode? I was like, I could do that all over again. So we're going to run through a lot of it here. There are a couple of corrections that I'll make. First of all, it is not junk. JNK from the Kurt Hustle Collective, he sent me a very nice message thanking me for profiling him and letting me know that, in fact, it's JNK. Okay, so big correction there. I didn't mind the other version, but I mean, if you don't want to be called that, I 100% understand. And whatever the case is, and we know it's JNK now, we love JNK, and I love JNK and Terry Visual's work, and they know that I know that, or I know that they know that, and they know that I know that. So that's all good. So quick correction there. Another correction, actually, before we get into this work by working class, our friend, Strange Thing, chimed in on Twitter and said, by the way, I didn't put the 2,500 Tezos, that's secondary, and it sold, in fact, for 300, okay, as we see here, to Scooney. So it's actually Scooney Vault that is selling this for 2,500, not Strange Thing. And I was all like, oh, is Strange Thing getting in over his skis a little bit here, his or her, by selling this for 2,500? It's getting a little... So, in fact, Strange Thing sold it for 300. Okay, and this is a secondary price, which can be anything. They could have put 100,000. So, apologies to Strange Thing. I think we're all good. We follow each other now on Twitter, and, you know, again, so we're going to open up the AI debate a little bit. We're going to continue that conversation. First, I did just want to, I want to just open with this for its total strangeness. I mean, working class, let's just look at the title quickly. Cyclicus, mysterious title. Die, live in comfort, born. Okay, well, that gives us a clue. By working class, made with Microsoft Paint. Actually, that gives us a lot of clues. Because I thought, is this just random imagery? But actually, we have the birth of a calf here. Kind of radical imagery, a little bit. Nothing crazy, but a little bit radical. We have the death of what looks like an elk. And we have, I guess this is life in the middle, you know, and this mysterious, you know, again, a surrealist space, again, walls. And what I mean by that is kind of architectural elements that have been abstracted. Okay? So it's not about the place, it's about the space that has been created here. Again, the idea of, you know, creating a psychological space. Okay, we're just going to put 3 walls here. This stage, you know, with this, again, very mysterious orange sky, purposefully simple gradient with divided, like, I mean, because I'm sure this gradient could have been smoother. Perhaps, I don't know, Microsoft Paint maybe doesn't allow that. And again, I don't consider that a bug, you know, like that's just kind of cool. And it shows the software and everything. I like it. And to me, the real creativity here is an orange sky and these gray clouds. And we haven't even really gotten into the content of this painting. So, and red walls, you know, so interesting decisions. We have this mouse up here, mouse on the piano, which may be dead. We have the woman with the happy face that's kind of dripping. We have the strange guy in what looks like boxer shorts. And then we have, of course, Michael Jackson. I assume this is based on a real photo. I'm not sure. It's probably a famous photo that I just don't know about. A door that goes into the darkness. So I wanted to start with this because what I like about this work is the ambition. There's a lot of ambition in here. And I really like that. And it's important as an artist to be trying to do great things. And that's what I see here, is an artist that is really trying to make spectacular works. So all to say, I want to highlight and celebrate that here, because this is something to be applauded and cheered on. We'll quickly look at working class's other works. I mean, it's kind of a mix. You get these sort of what I'd consider sort of almost sketchbook type works. Apologies in advance, but kind of less. I would consider this, and again, feel free to disagree. And for everybody, and this is all in good sport. And me talking about your work is the ultimate, from my perspective, it's the ultimate compliment I am giving to you. I consider this something that should be talked about. So if I ever seem critical, or I'm ever giving commentary, we have to be able to talk about stuff. It's under the larger, context that I think this is worth talking about, which is a huge compliment from me to working class here. This I picked up before. This I'd consider ambitious work. We see the direction. Again, shocking imagery. Don't forget where you come from. New VW four-wheeler and Le Robé las chicas a el doctor. So I'm not a Spanish speaker, but, a decapitated head again. Sort of worryingly common to see these. So just to see where this artist has come from. And it seems to be kind of a newer thing to be trying what I'd consider these ambitious narrative paintings. I love this one. I may pick this up before I publish this because I've had my eye on this guy for a long time. Completely different kind of work, but there's just something about it that I love. So interesting. And let's just look at the first, which I missed. The end is near. The first of what I'd call the really ambitious kind of narrative painting works. You have the pentagram here. Again, more shocking imagery. Again, a really nice kind of Microsoft painting. But if you're looking for something non-shocking, don't look at the drone, okay? Don't look too closely at the drone, at what's going on there. So don't look at the horses if you don't want to be mildly kind of... So anyway, very interesting work from working class. I'm enjoying just watching that go. And it's fun to watch artists evolve. This is one of the great things about this whole platform, on Object or, pick your, hen, whatever. You see the development here. So, this is an early kind of narrative work. So you see real evolution. So we covered this, and I did want to cover a couple of things on the AI front. Again, from what I understood in the tweet that Strange Thing gave, that he also, I think it's a he, if it's not, let me know, that this hand was on purpose as well, part of the aesthetic. This isn't like cutting corners, okay? So as Blamo was saying, this is not a bug, it's a feature, and the artist himself is saying the same thing, from what I understood from his tweet. I would go back to all this stuff, but these are one-take shows in the morning. And if they're anything more, I'm not going to do them. And you guys seem to like them, and I really enjoy doing it. So forgive the mistakes along the way, okay? I will correct them as I see them. So this was a new one, and I thought this one was really interesting. I had a couple of thoughts on it. And again, first of all, another great composition. And just another great piece. Kind of has a bit of I don't know if it's Vermeer. Again, kind of like one of these older kind of oil paintings. I'm not sure if this is Vermeer or some other kind of Flemish oil painting type thing. I mean, if you go to Vermeer, I think you will often see this window with the light. Let's actually open a tab. Vermeer paintings. Yeah, I mean, why is it so difficult on Google to get some Vermeer paintings? Let's just try this again. You see here's a classic, so you see so of that era, again, this is kind of a post Caravaggio, chiaroscuro. Caravaggio has those really strong light and darks that was imitated. Like there's a whole movement that practically came. I don't know if you'd call Caravaggio Mannerist, but there's a whole genre of painting based on Caravaggio's. And for those that don't know, Caravaggio's paintings, light and dark style. So again, light. So the light more than anything is kind of, and Caravaggio himself, you see here, it's kind of like the light of the window. So this is kind of like a classic theme. And in Strange Things' latest work, we kind of see it here. I think a beautiful work, The Printer, with a 3, wrong era with numbers. So all very cool. And this work, again, accepted offer of 300 from unknown collectors. So the work is selling. I think another successful piece. I was wondering to myself, if you look closer, you can see the distorted hands on this piece. And here, we'll do that quickly. I was wondering to myself, I like this pixelation. I think it adds a really just cool stylistic element, just purely on aesthetics. And even conceptually, we could say this is kind of a weird sort of hat tip to the machine. That's one of many interpretations here. You have this thing sticking out here, which is probably, again, a machine error, quote unquote. But I'll tell you what I like about the pixelation here is it looks like an editing of the AI. And that's kind of my thing here with the AI. Again, one of my reservations is kind of how quickly this can all be made, right? Which, because look, in the last day, I think we have 4, right? And it doesn't take away the brilliance. I think fashion is about to change, okay? Because who would come up with this? Even you could put out a label that's like a parody of Nike, and fashion, I think, is about to go off the chain or off the charts or go berserk. Because there's some, this could easily be some kind of super hip, gear, thug life gear from Nike. So, yeah. And this came out, September 7th, we see Minta's celebration. We'll get to that in a second. So again, I bring all this up as a kind of, as I told Strange Thing, just so you know, because he was like, bro, I'm not putting it for 2,500, and I understand. Nobody wants to be misrepresented. Okay, so fair enough, which is why I do the corrections. But as I told Strange Thing, the reason why I'm talking about your work is because I think it's a great discussion piece, because it's so kind of interesting and attractive, and it's great work. As I said with this original one, I'd be thrilled if I made this. This is a great work, so it merits discussion. So that's true for anybody that's basically on my little, journal here. If I'm talking about you, it's because I think it's worth talking about, which is a huge compliment. Just because sometimes if I go in and say maybe last time I'm talking about the hand and I'm not kind of that, maybe that's not clear, right? So just to remind everybody of that. Great piece by Minta, who continues to chronicle what's going on Tezos, and her meta, another great meta piece by Minta. And what's interesting about this piece, I picked it up. You can still get it. I think she's going to burn what's not sold shortly, I believe. And what I like about this piece is it's actually different from this one. So what Minta did was put in the mirror another version. So going meta here with Minta, because it's not exactly the same. There has been an edit. And that is what I liked on that other AI piece, is there was an edit. And to me, this is the power of AI, because it's a little too convenient from a process point of view. I'm still in this feeling that to just come up with the idea and hit a button, and then we go, there you go, that'll be 300 or however many Tezos. I just have reservations as a collector. And again, feel free to disagree, and I may change my mind on that. Okay? But what I love about this is, again, it's not over with, let's say there is a button being pushed, and then you add things. It doesn't need to have labor, but it might need another layer. I want something that's half artist, half AI, let's say, or just maybe there's another edit on top. And I'm not religious on that view, but just in terms of, valuation. Now, it just creates reservations, and I'm just opening these up as questions that I have. And again, I'm not claiming to have a right or a wrong answer. I think this is useful for all of us, wherever we stand. And Minta weighed in. So nice comment from Minta. Nice to make us think, Adrian and Blamo. To make great AI art, you still need to be talented. Because we were discussing this Ernst idea that talent isn't required. And I think it's an open question. And what we mean by talent is an interesting question. Does that mean technical ability? Or is that taste? Can that be a talent? So we'll need to figure this out in the coming days and weeks. But let's continue. To make great AI art, you still need to be talented. Art is not about how difficult was to make. Otherwise, conceptual artists or some abstract artists like Mondrian would be SHIT. Art is about making the right decision no matter the tool. So, yeah, I think good point. I would say Mondrian is actually not so easy to make. It might seem that way. So that's one reservation on the comment. To make great AI art, you still need to be talented. I think this is an open question. It depends what we mean by talented. I think you could have zero art training, or put it this way, zero studio training in terms of knowing how to draw, and maybe be able to make a great AI art piece. Like, I'm not convinced that you do need to have, say, technical talent. But I do think you need a quote-unquote taste and a understanding and awareness of the tradition. So, open question is what do we mean by talented? Art is not about how difficult it is to make. I think that's a fair question, or a fair point. The only problem is if it's super easy and everybody can do it, then the valuation does drop, is sort of what I would, wouldn't that be true? And disagree if you like. Otherwise, conceptual artists or some abstract artists like Mondrian would be SHIT. So, yeah, so I think some very valid points. Debatable is what I would say. And this is another one that I think is debatable. Art is about making the right decision. This is kind of how I think about design. Okay, and I consider art a poetic form of design. And this is a classic sort of question. What is the difference between art and design? And this is just kind of groundwork to get to this decision issue. The difference between art and design, in my view, is art is poetic design. I consider, Andy Warhol to be a great designer of art, is actually how I consider him. What's the difference between a Magritte and an ad? I mean, he's a graphic designer. Ultimately, there's poetry in it. So I consider art a poetic form. It's design is the umbrella, and art is actually kind of a part of design. It's the poetic branch, we might call, of kind of organizing things in a certain way, to be very general, as general as we can. And if you open the lives of the artists and sculptors by Vasari, I believe it starts with, like in the Italian, they're talking about designi, if I remember right, and I don't even know Italian, but about the art of design. They use the word, and it's like we see it in dessin. drawing. So this relationship is very important. And in terms of why I say all this because in design, my take is there are right answers in design and there are wrong answers in design. We've all seen bad design, right? There's right answers and there's wrong answers. I would say art is about making right decisions, maybe. Like what I would say is there's more than one right answer to design. You can make a website beautiful this way, and you can make a website beautiful that way. There are more than one right answer to design. So in spirit, I basically agree, but I'd say there's more than one right answer. So art is about making right decisions or good decisions, no matter the tool. So I think in spirit, actually, we're pretty agreed, Minta. But I would qualify it a touch, okay? So the debate continues. I'm loving this because I'm actually learning a ton, and it's great to get the feedback. Blammo put on the YouTube, it is definitely AI summer or something to that effect. So I said, yeah, okay, we're agreed on something. Cheers. Okay. This was a big deal. I mean, there's so much going on, guys. We haven't even got to so this Rat Cloaksy of Kafka, again, done, I believe, on a phone, finger art, mobile art, phone art, which I think should not be valued any less than regular. I think there's kind of a natural bias to think that, oh, well, if it's made with a phone, somehow this shouldn't be worth as much. And I completely I've made so much of my work. I usually start with the phone on 60 to 70% of my work. Say all the screen memories, that process begins on a phone. And I have a 200 image work of the Peloponnesian War. That was all made on a phone. Sketchbook Pro, you want a free app on the phone? That's pretty good. Sketchbook Pro, lots of layers, pretty versatile. I'm not sure what Rat Cloaksy uses. But this work of Kafka, so you see the bug, and again, I love this literary thing, guys. This is good. And even the eye here, which we saw from the Magritte, maybe, and we saw in that other painting. Again, the really nice treatment. The eyes, again, just kind of mysterious work. The cigarette in the hand that's kind of so that's maybe turning into a spider here. So just another kind of fun, interesting work. Look at what happened here. So started the auction again at 30 rather than 1, which seems to be a good idea. And we got some bids. Matias La Plata came in, and then we saw, though, a bidding war. And I don't think we've seen that yet. We've seen kind of minor ones with these phone artworks from Rat Cloaksy, but we're starting to see some pretty serious bidding wars here. Weblinks comes in at 75, Tezos at 726. I think this was close to the closing price or to closing time. Then we got another one from Light v Dark for 85. Then Vincent van Doe, very prominent collector on Ethereum too, came in at 100 Tezos. And then Weblinks and Vincent van Doe battled it out. Light v Dark comes in at the end with 310. And Weblinks, he might still be smarting that I got that myth, I'm starting to think when I saw this. It's like Weblinks is not letting this one of one go. And Weblinks comes in again for 320 Tezos. So that is a real, we're almost $500. And what I was going to show is, look at the trajectory here of recently sold. The last one went for 160. The one before went for 41. The one before that, and I was just letting other people get them. Like I knew that there was, actually I was out, one of these I was out paddleboarding, okay? But for 26, I mean, 39, 54, like I'm not sure we're gonna see these prices again. 20, I picked this one up, like I wanted other people to get them. I mean, I'm not totally a charity here, like, but I saw this was going for like 11. I'm like, forget this. I'm buying this. If nobody's going to bid on this for 13, I mean, they're being given away here. But you see a bit of a price trajectory. So prices are rising. Let's see what happens here. 160, and then, you know, the last one again they're being listed at high prices too. And the last one, again, went for 320. So that's double the previous high. So we're going exponential here. Let's see where it goes. I mean, look at how far we are into this program, and we haven't even talked about The Myth. The Myth put out a beautiful work. Look at this. Now, okay, so a lot of us have already seen this. Okay, big deal, Adrian. We've all seen it. Okay, great. But a few things I want to point out, especially because there are people who probably haven't seen it. Contemporary clothing, contemporary imagery with the chips, the hilarious Cheetos myth thing. Okay. Sold out pretty quickly. I missed it. It was in the middle of the night. It was 4 a.m. For me. So, yeah, I'll have to figure out if I want to get this on secondary. Weblinks is making an offer. I don't know if... Let's just reload this. And it's not, yeah, so there's offers for 26. I mean, I might have to jump in here and just get it while you can get it. You know, you can't own everything though. Like, and you can't own everything, and you don't need to own everything. This is what I want to point out though. This is what, you know, usually I'm going to trad art to say what things remind me of, but you know how we were talking about artists responding to other artists? Look at the composition here of the body and the guy smoking and the cigarette butts. Let me just expand this. See, you see the used cigarette butts? Again, the contemporary shoes and the pose. Okay, this is a rat cloaksy from March. Now we go back to our myth, and you see the cigarette butts here? A similar pose. It's not identical, but smoking. It's tempting, who knows, but it sure is tempting to see this as a response. Okay, so this is a very fun thing. It makes me very bullish, because this is what we see in the history of art. And if that's what we're starting to see here on Tezos, it's just a very bullish sign, okay? And like, lest we forget, again, like, I mean, the show, I'm trying to keep these short. We got to work by 3A, 5A, 1A. I missed it by like 10 seconds. Because I had to fill my Tezos from Binance, and yeah, so it goes. I mean, again, you can't own everything. Maybe I pick it up on secondary. Let's see, Mythwood, so part of his Wrestler series, I think. Very, very cool portrait of the Myth. 13. Love that work, a little Tezos pendant, El Mito. So I guess I was trying to figure out, someone left a comment on YouTube, El Mito on a myth work. I didn't think I understand. Yeah, now I understand it. The Myth, El Mito. I was like, is that lemon? No, lemonito. Yeah. Anyway, Mythwood, kind of great. So I missed this by 10 seconds. Maybe I'll pick it up. I think we got a few on secondary. Just another awesome work. This came out like 5 minutes later. Gabby Walter, who is an interesting artist, who, you know, I discovered through, I think, Vincent Van Doe's collection. I saw he was collecting, and I was like, oh, this seems to be someone in the community. And so I picked up I got a one of Gabby's work. This strange mix of crash test dummies, like 16th, 17th century style paintings, and, you know, and Mickey Mouse, you know, with a broken ear. So a very fun, interesting painter, Gabby Walter, and very strong market. I mean, I picked one up for $3. That's what they went for. They sold out in about 5 minutes. 3A, 5A, 1A's work sold out in 4 minutes, which was pretty impressive. So you see how strong the market is for some artists here. And on secondary, it sold for $20. So someone like 6x'd like right out of the gate. So now it's 50. So strong market. Someone's just going to drop 20 Tezos right away. That was it to Maxwell who picked it up? So anyway, so don't want these to go too long here. What else do we got here? New work from Daukante Draws. I believe it's a she. So again, I want to know if these are made in Procreate or not. Before I dive super in, I want to know if they're scans or not. But another kind of really nice kind of full work that's come out. Strong market, regardless of what I think. They sell out very quickly, selling for $11.50 right away. Weblinks, again, Weblinks is all over the place. New work by Audi. Again, guys, this is the last day. This is since we last talked, okay? And there's Ewan McGregor and Audi. Audi being odd again. I love this style. Again, I like the ambiguity and the surrealism of Audi's work. Again, contemporary culture just kind of through a blender, you know. Louis Osborne did a very fast drop, is how he did this one. So basically, he said the top 30, what is it? Accepting the top 39 offers in 1 hour. So he basically said, you have an hour, I'll take the top 39. So basically, I think it was everybody above like 10 or 8 got one of these. So just an interesting, as we follow Louis Osborne's kind of, because he's doing so well, we're learning a lot and really getting a lot of ideas of how to do this. He's being very creative with it. And did he have another? Let me just look. Yeah, okay. So let's leave that at that. I made a sale. Thank you to TDP. This is part of the Nostalgia Studies series. Based on Ultima 4, one of my favorite subjects. I'm sure we'll see this again in another episode that's not so long. We can go into some of the Nostalgia Studies works that I do, like graphite on paper. It's based on this. So screenshots. Again, Ultima 4, I consider an early masterpiece of digital art, actually. Lord British, this came out in the mid-'80s. It's people love this game who played it, and I think it's more for the visuals than the gameplay. That's where I'm going with this, which is why it's just one of my favorite subjects in my Nostalgia Studies series. And that's it. Get your ticket from JNK to see if you can win a one-of-one NFT. To do that, you have to buy this work here. So get it while you can. Until next week, or until next episode, my friends, take care.